I think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us. We're going to try and get like an hour out to talk about that Blackpool game. I don't know how the hell we're going to do this, to be honest with everybody. We'll try our best. We'll kind of see what happens. Mick is back and going to help us do that. How are you doing, Mick?
Yeah, help. Yeah, I'm here, mate. I'm here. And I watched it.
Yeah, that helps.
That's where we are, basically.
Fair enough. And Joy's back to help us get through this hour as well. How are you doing, Joy?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to lift the sheen of boredom from my eyes for the last two matches.
Yeah. Just like 3 weeks ago, we were all positive, and now normal service has been resumed. We got the Reading. Thankfully, we got another game to talk about. We do play Saturday, so we can have a bit of a talk about the Reading game on Saturday as well. John S is with us, as is YouTube user Steve Grundy, Chris Page. Emma Wood says cancel the party bus. It does seem that way, unfortunately. Chris Tether's with us, as is Kelly for Bobs. Paul Rose says evening just about thawed out from Blackpool. Well done to Paul and everybody else who went on Tuesday night. I know you enjoy won't be the right word, but you just still well done for going anyway. Darren Cook's with us, Scott Kent's with us, John Fellows, Craig, and Fishman Sid and Terry are all with us as well. Mick, a 0-0 draw, and it was one. I am absolutely convinced there's never been a good game of football ever played at Blackpool. Because whenever I watch a game of football played at Bloomfield Road, it is one of the worst games I've seen in a very, very long time. And it wasn't that they dirtied the game up; it was just two bad teams again, kind of doing nothing. It was just a poor game.
It seems every time we go to Blackpool, bar's really low, isn't it? You know, in terms of what to expect. I think that is the second 0-0 on trot we've had there, and the first one weren't any better.
No.
To be honest with you, I felt a little bit more enthusiastic after Tuesday, but only because of Saturday. You know, it was a better performance. We looked a lot stronger. We looked a lot more organised on Tuesday than we did on Saturday by a mile. But it weren't very entertaining at the end of the day, would it? And should have won it. There's no doubt about it. We should have won it. So, that's it. That's my assessment of that game. Move on. Reading on Saturday. It's going to be crap as well. It's been nice chatting. See you on Sunday.
Yeah. I suppose the thing is, Joe makes right. It was an improvement. Now I know Saturday was terrible, but it was an improvement. It changed the formation around. It changed the lineup a little bit. I do think we were marginally the better team. Certainly the second half, I thought we were the better team. So I suppose that's something. If you want to cling on to kind of a positive, that's something to kind of cling on to.
Yeah, but we are clutching at straws here, aren't we? Yeah. Let's be honest. I mean, the bar was set very, very low on Saturday, wasn't it? I mean, It was minus. So an improvement on that would have been the very least I would have expected on Tuesday. And I do agree. We did improve, but like I said, the bar was set so low on Saturday. I can't believe I went on Saturday. All that money and time. I can't believe it. But it was an improvement on Tuesday. Let's big that up. Kelly was back, obviously. Still looked a little ring rusty as far as I was concerned, but perhaps he does hold it together a bit more. But we were just too narrow. There's no wide width. You know, we're not clinical. It's just really poor watch again, isn't it? It's like watching paint dry. It'd be more interesting.
Yeah, it was the most mid-table game I think I've seen possibly ever. It's just peak mid-table League One football. Yeah, let's talk about the change, Mick. So the formation was a 5-3-2, but it wasn't like a Paul Warren 5-3-2 where you got like a Chio at wing back or whatever. This was a flat back five and then a 3-5-2. And we said it last week. I'm sure we said it last week, and I will say it again. If you're going to play with essentially wing backs, you can't play Joe Rafferty and Reece James. They don't have the legs. They don't have the energy. And we were better in the second half when he changed it back. But the players we've got don't fit into the system that he might want to play because they're bog standard. And I don't mean this as a to kind of disrespect them because it's just not what they do. But you can't ask them to do that job because they're just not good enough for it.
No, it's not that. That's not what they've been brought up doing, is it? That's not what they've done throughout their career. They're not wing backs. They're full backs. Yeah. It's weird. It's really weird because when we have a particularly bad game, whether it be Leyton Orient or Crawley. It was Crawley, weren't it?
Crawley and Leyton Orient.
But Crawley first because did we not play Leyton Orient afterwards? We all moaned about the fact that we got no width, so he changed it and played a 5.
Yeah.
And then we played Shrewsbury and he's changed it and played a 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't. Still, we're here in February, coming up to March. We're halfway through February, and you don't know what your best 11 is. You don't know what your best formation is. You don't know what you're trying to play because we've changed it, and we've not changed it. Maybe we've changed it for to accommodate what Blackpool have got. I don't know, maybe. But they seem to come through middle, not down sides. So that can't be the case. I wouldn't have thought. Maybe, I don't know. Is there some just only going off at a bit of a tangent here? Is there some sort of truth in this rumor about Kelly and the PFA's involvement in some sort of issues with the manager? And all of a sudden he's got to play again. I don't know. I don't know whether there's any truth in that. I'll start that rumor here and there.
Why not? Let's do it.
Listen, I said in the chat halfway through the game. We're playing with a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, whichever you want to call it, and we still ain't got any width. How is that even possible? And it is possible, like you said, because it's a flat back 5. How are you ever gonna? You're never gonna impose yourself on a game to any degree. Play five defenders who are only there to defend. They've got to be able. Those wing backs have got to be wing backs, and we ain't got any. But yet we've changed the system to accommodate what I don't know. Maybe to accommodate the moans and groans of some supporters, me included. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We've all talked on here and in other places about the lack of width and the lack of the ability to get the ball in the box. So let's change it, and we have. But we haven't changed it we haven't changed the personnel because we haven't got any personnel to change it with, obviously. But yeah, it's all a bit strange. I was happier with the performance, but only because, like I said, Saturday was so bad.
Yeah, John Davis, you can't play width if you don't have any wingers. Terry Fenby says, who else you're going to put there shows how much management don't have a clue about how to play these players. Good. You say something?
No.
But this plays. He's right, Joe. And if this plays into, and I don't really want to keep going on about the transfer window and things such as that, but every single fan that I saw on social media said we needed some fullbacks. And Tuesday was a prime example of why we needed some new, fresh fullbacks. We needed some fullbacks with a little bit of energy so you can get high up the pitch if you want to play this formation. And Evans is a perfect transfer to whatever he said. We were desperately crying out for a couple of fullbacks because they'd have been somebody with a little bit of pace on Tuesday night to get up and down wings would have been perfect.
Didn't happen though, did it?
No.
It's immaterial what we we can see that is needed because A, we don't hold the purse strings, B, we don't make the decisions, and C, it didn't happen. So it's all what ifs and maybes at the end of the day. We can sit here and talk about it with the blue in the face, but it's gone. We've just got to go now with what we've got, which isn't seem to be very much, unfortunately. And again, we've discussed this on many occasions about having, square pegs in round holes. But you could argue that he's now got round pegs in round holes, but not in a position where it affects the outcome of any game, if that makes sense. You play a flat back five because, like Mick says, all you've got is 5 defenders. You've got no wing backs. You're playing people in. The only one that I can think that recently that hasn't played in the role that we expected them to is Cam Humphreys. He's moved out into that defensive midfield role. And what a block that was actually on Tuesday. What a block. That was probably the highlight of the game. And when you think about Andre Green on Saturday, he was sort of playing in the middle, and he's a flipping winger, isn't he? I thought he was anyway. But what do I know? I know nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. Phil says, how many players did you want them to bring in? The numbers kind of irrelevant. I just want people brought in the right areas. I don't think we needed 3 central midfielders bringing in, to be honest with you. And I don't think any fan was at the window was kind of thinking we needed 3 central midfielders. We needed certain areas plugging, and we don't plug any of them. But again, it's stated when you stop talking about the transfer window, I suppose. You mentioned Liam Kelly coming, Mick. I told you my thoughts on the group chat that I didn't think he did very well, to be honest with you. Tom defended him. Tom thought Liam Kelly had a good game and impacted positively. I'm just not seeing it with Liam Kelly, to be honest with you. I think he gives the ball away far, far too much. He don't get around the pitch particularly well. I'm just not seeing it, to be honest with you. I don't think he impacted the game. I thought when Cam Humphreys stepped forward out of defence, I thought that was more helpful, to be honest with you. I thought Kelly really struggled.
Yeah, he had no game time for a start.
That's
no game time whatsoever. And he's not spring chicken anymore. So he's not going. His match fitness and everything else is going to take some time to. It's going to take some time to get up to speed, isn't it? I don't think he had a bad game at all. I didn't agree with what you said about him. I'm not going into that. I didn't think he was anywhere near that bad, but I don't think anybody was particularly bad. I thought there were reasonable games all the way through the squad. I don't think anybody had a particularly bad game. It wasn't necessarily about any individual performances or the overall performance, quite frankly. It was about the way we set up and the lack of any creativity, like Joy mentioned. I don't know whether he mentioned it on while we were on air or not, but we certainly mentioned it tonight. That there wasn't anything. There was nobody to create anything at all. And Panzu did what he did on Saturday and worked really, really hard and impacted the game and looked. He wanted the ball. He wanted to be involved constantly. He is a fantastic signing. How we've landed him, I don't know. But again, we want somebody like him who's going to play out wide. That's what we needed. Somebody with a bit of pace who could get up and down the wing pretty quickly. I don't know, maybe like Cohen Bramall or something like that. That kind of. Oh wait, we had one of them, didn't we? But we got rid of him. Anyway, yeah. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, and all that. Yeah, I'm just disappointed that we can't get a tune out of these players. I really, really am, because again, you look down the team sheet, you think, yep, quality, decent player, good player, almost without exception. All of them can do a really, really solid job at this level, and some of them can do a solid job above this level, and we can't get a single tune out of them. That's that can't be 11 players who were good that have all of a sudden turned crap. That's just not how it works. That's not how life works, is it? It's not how football works. It has to be down to the way that they coached, or not, as the case may be. And I suspect it's more likely not than actual coaching. There's no movement, is there? No. Off the ball, when we're in possession, there is no movement. Whoever picks the ball, wherever it is, whether it's Liam Kelly, whether it's one of the defenders, central defenders, whether it's Mpanzu, who's in the middle of the park, there is zero movement, none at all. And as a consequence, we can't get the ball out wide because there's nobody there, and we can't play it through Centric Park because there's nobody making themselves available. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what made the change in formation even been stranger, Joy, because like Mick says earlier, I don't really know what he was trying to fix, because it wasn't fixing the problem in midfield because you had the same players in there, same three in there. You weren't fixing any wide areas because obviously we had no wide areas to play into. It was a really strange idea to change. I mean, look, I've got a point. Evans will argue that it worked, but I didn't understand it, to be honest with you. It was just weird.
And following on from what Mick said, I noticed on Saturday when we were playing that Mpanzu did make some forward runs, but nobody was ready to had that composure or foresight to pass it to them. Has it been coached out of them? I think I follow on with you, Mick, with that. You know, it's got to be the coaching. I mean, I noticed we had like one really good play when Powell passed that ball through, and both Hugill and Powell. Nombe were running onto it, but they both ran away from it, and it was a lovely through ball. But one went one way and one went the other way, and nobody seems to be on the right wavelength. And you're right, Mick. You can't seem to get a tune out of them, and it doesn't matter how he sort of fiddles and tinkers with the formation or what they've been doing in training. Like I say, are they doing it for every team that they play against? If that's the case, then that's the wrong way to be doing it. One would assume that as a football team, you want to impose in the way that you play on a set of circumstances, not tinkering and messing about with it to match whatever team you're playing on Saturday or Tuesday. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why we'd be tinkering around with it so much.
No.
Well,
am I wrong?
We performed so badly on Saturday, that he obviously felt the need, or him and Rayner obviously felt the need to make a change to something. And I genuinely think it's almost as if, well, we're going to have to change something. Let's do something. Let's play 5 at back instead. Let's see if that works. We're in February. We are in February, and we sat here in mid-table, and we're not even mediocre mid-table. And this is a very, very mediocre mid-table. It's a mediocre league. And we're just not making any impact whatsoever, game after game after game after game. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. And I have a very, very strong feeling that there's next to no work gets done up at Roundwood. None at all. There can't be. There cannot be, because the quality of the players that we've got here, surely, if you're working hard on the training ground, if you're putting the hours in, putting the miles and the yards in on that training ground, there's enough in this squad to be far, far better than they are now. I wouldn't be surprised if they go and have a kickabout for 20 minutes every other day, and then turn up on Saturday, lads, bring your boots. Genuinely, that's how it feels. That's how they play.
I have noticed that, you know, during the games, they're always like half a yard behind the thoughts of the player who's got the ball. There's no forward thinking. You know, it's pass crab football as well, isn't it, all the time? You know, I mean, there were many times we went down and the next pass was back to midfield, back to Phillips, back out again on the other side, and it's like it's soul destroying football. And like you say, Mick, it's not like we've got players who can't play, but they aren't. They're not playing as a team. No. There's no creativity. There's no clinical finishing up front whatsoever. I mean, Nombe runs himself to water and doesn't achieve very much, unfortunately. I mean, Hugill has shown up in the last game and a half and has not done too badly, I would suggest. But, you know, it has been mooted, and I've been seeing, you know, like players like Hugill, Green, etc. They're starting to turn it on because they're coming to the times when other teams will be casting their nets and looking for the next contracts. I'm sorry to be a cynic.
No, I think you're probably right. I just want to mention the 3-5-2. It's not a sustainable option either, by the way, because we played all our centre-backs played on Tuesday night. All of them started, all the fit ones.
Yeah, we said Radic's injured again, isn't he?
Radic's injured again, yeah. So even if 3-5-2, we thought it was the right way to go, you can't. If you get one injury, you're done. That's the end of it. So it's not really something you want to stick to.
No,
because you're in trouble big time either way. So I think it's again, it doesn't make any sense to me. Sean H, the players that are essential wide players, i.e. Green, Wilkes, Holmes, all play in the middle or as a 10. Yeah. Evans does this though, and I said I hark back to it. When we went in first time around, it brought in Connor Salmon, who was famously a big target man, and played him on right wing, played him as a winger. Evans does these weird, stupid things, and that didn't work, and this isn't working. Obviously, it did work with other players, but this is not the first time that Evans is playing kind of players in a really, really, really odd way. Harry says, "Get the feeling that Mick isn't happy." Could be wrong though.
And I'm pretty. I don't care anymore. Quite frankly, I genuinely, I'm really not bothered. The season's over. I think. I said that, and if you have another run like we had in January, you could be knocking on the door at playoffs because it's so bad, bad, this league. But I think somebody mentioned it in the comments on the other day. If we got in there, it would genuinely be a waste of a playoff spot. It needs to be somebody who deserves to be there, because we don't.
No, we don't.
We absolutely do not deserve to be anywhere close. But then, having said that, neither do Charlton or Bolton or things like that.
Somebody else deserves to be there.
Yeah, so I suppose you take what you can take.
Yeah. Matt Miller says, you can't get a tune out of team. He says, because this team has no faith in or respect for the manager and his assistant or their dreary, confused tactics. Yeah. Let's go on to a positive, though, mate, because John Hugill once again deserves some praise and some positive conversation. He made an impact when he came in against Shrewsbury, and he made another impact again on Tuesday. For me, it was one of the bright sparks. He should have scored. There's no question he should have scored that chance in the second half.
Yeah.
But this looks like a John Hugill that wants to be here. Looks like a player who wants to play football for the first time in 18 months, to be honest with you. If this guy was here since the start of the season, he would have played himself into a bit of form and he'd have scored a few more goals. Where's this guy been? Because he was really helpful to the team.
When's his contract up?
Next summer, so not this summer.
I don't know where he's been. I don't know. I've no idea. He seems to have knuckled down a little bit, and he's shown us what he's capable of. We know what he's capable of. Everybody knows what he's capable of. He's done really, really well, and it is a bright spark. It is a bright. It's good. It's good for the team, and hopefully it gives us another option. The worry is that that option is kick it aside if you can, lads. We've not, because we've not been able to do well. We have done it. We've still done it, even with Nombe up front, but not so much. I love it. I'm glad to see him. I'm glad to see him doing well, and long may it continue. I suspect it won't, and I only suspect it won't because short history we have with Jordan Hugill suggests that it won't.
It's not that short anymore. I think it's coming up to 100 games.
It doesn't seem to last very long, does it?
No, it doesn't. And even if playing great, Joy, to be fair, if Malik Wilkes is fit for the weekend, Hugill's back on bench. And maybe that's why Hugill's not turned up and not been here, because he knows he's at best third choice. Maybe even fourth choice with Andre Green. So maybe to defend Hugill a little bit, that's why he wasn't playing. But like I said, he has turned up now, and he's certainly staked a claim. Even if Wilkes is fit, I think he's staked a claim for the shirt on Saturday.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I agree. He was a bright spot, probably the man of the match against Shrewsbury, and there and thereabouts on Tuesday as well. And he should have scored, to be honest. But then again, is he a bit ring rusty because he's he's only been having runs out in the Virtue Trophy, whatever it's called these days. And now he's out of that. We're out of that, so his opportunities are probably reduced. So maybe that's the reason why he's upped his game. I don't know. And how far is Wilkes off of coming back? Do we know?
Close this well. It's on Tuesday. There's a chance for this weekend. The presser is tomorrow, so we'll know more tomorrow, I think.
Because it's interesting, isn't it, that we have in this last 3 or 4 games since he's been out, hardly scored a goal, have we?
No, doesn't look like scoring either.
And the thing to me is, Wilkes doesn't always show up in games anyway. So, but it must have an impact because our goals have just dried up since he's been out, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we're quite reliant on a player that we didn't know we were reliant on, which is quite strange. Yeah, it's strange. Yes, Sean H. Someone mentioned on X that he sees them training to kick about in a bit of shooting practice.
See, that's third or fourth time from 3 or 4 separate sources that I've heard that information. I've not seen that on X, but I have heard it before and seen it said before on social media. I suspect there must be some truth in it. And
you got Evans. So see if he'll let you go down and watch him train.
Yeah. Email him.
No.
I'll go down.
See a special episode.
yeah. I did the level 1 coaching for under 8s, under 9s. I'll take a session. Tell him.
Easy. Yeah. Exactly.
I could have said, knock on them doors in them houses and go upstairs in bedroom. Get your camera out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something else that cropped its ugly head up again, Mick, was the lack of changes on the bench. And I think this is going to be something we're going to be talking about a lot over the next. Still 3 months left this season. We managed to bring on Andre Green with 10 minutes left. Oh no, Andrew Green came on 90 minutes. Sorry, Lewis Sibley came on with 10 minutes left. That left Jack Holmes, Cameron Dawson, Ben Hatton, Harrison Duncan, and Dean Gardner. Now I know we've got a few injuries, we have 5 injuries, but there's still. You know, when Blackpool made those changes, they made instant impacts. As soon as they made those changes, I thought Blackpool were going to go on and win the game. That winger they brought on playing the right hand side causes all sorts of problems for like 5 minutes. Niall Ennis is a great sub to bring on as well. Who didn't hurt us, but he's a good player to bring on. There's no changes at all to be able to make the impact of the game. Sibley was pretty anonymous again. Andre Green coming at 90th minute. I mean, there was no point really to that, was there? No. But the lack of benches, if we were ever going to have a shot at the playoffs, that's also impacted it.
I do hope we're not going to be talking about it for a while, because there's no one to say, is there? There's nobody there. What are we going to be talking about for a while? Because we all know, despite what Phil said, about how many did we expect to bring in on in window, we all know we can't even fill a bench. We certainly haven't got a 25-man squad. How many have we registered? 19, I think.
19, yeah.
What? How? How has it come to this? And I know that Paul Davis will tell us that we've got biggest wage bill that we've ever had in League One. Can anybody else? Can anybody else see the problem with that? We've got the biggest wage bill. We've got the smallest squad, and we're playing football, which is just awful to watch most of the time. We're losing to the teams in the bottom 4.
Teams like Shrewsbury.
We're losing to teams in the bottom 4 who, at home, who we should be getting points off. Surely that can't be right. Surely that's not right. We've got the biggest wage bill we've ever had in League One, and we're playing like this. It doesn't add up. It does not add up. And the bench is going to be kids for the rest of the season, arguably, save for 1 or 2 who come back from injury, perhaps. It's just, I don't know. It's a mess. It's a bit of a shambles. It really is. Yeah.
So I think telling us it's the biggest budget we've ever had at this level makes it worse.
Yeah, it does.
It makes it worse.
And this is the thing. And it's like, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah. But having said that, if it's true, at least it's a bit of honesty. Because
indirect honesty, though, isn't it?
Well, I'd sooner be honest. I'd sooner have a little bit of honesty rather than some of the nonsense that we've had coming out. So, if it is
more questions, if this is the biggest budget we've ever had, where the hell has this money gone? Because the players that we know are playing pretty well were already here. Cam Humphreys, for example, Hakeem Adolphin. So they're not going to be a massive money. Joe Powell's come from Burton, so I assume he's not going to be a massive amount of money. Who else have we got? Zach Jules has come from Exeter, so again, I'm going to assume he's not going to have a massive amount of money. Where's all this money gone? Which players has it gone on? Well, we know which players it's gone on. It's Johnson Clark Harris, since we know where it's gone, and probably Liam Kelly as well, who's taking a chunk of this. But it begs more questions than it joy. It begs a lot more questions than answers. The fact this is such a good budget, and somebody should be taking the blame for this, because this somebody's made a mistake. Whether it's the transfer committee above Evans, whether it's Evans, whether it's Tony Stewart, somebody's making mistakes here for multiple transfer windows in a row.
But we've had these conversations for the last forever, haven't we?
Yeah.
About our ability to recruit and our ability to keep contracts, renew contracts, etc. I mean, when we've said it before, we're a non-league setup, it would seem, in the back rooms. And Mr. TS saying his incremental plans and what have you. It's just, and for another thing as well, they don't look fit this year.
No, they don't.
None of them look fit. I mean, they're obviously not, some of them, because they're on the physio's bench, but I mean, not that I want to hark back to previous management, but when we've had teams before, they have been fit as butcher's dogs, haven't they? They chase and chase and chase. And that actually covered a lot of deficits up, I would suggest, in terms of skill sets and what have you that certain players have. Now, theoretically, we've got a set of players now that have got increased skill sets, but are not showing them, And I agree with you, Matt. Who's the money going on? I mean, we're assuming that Hugill's on a wad as well for at least another year and a bit. Jonathan Clark-Harris, will he play for us again?
Well, will he be fit ever again?
Yeah, that's either way.
Yeah.
It beggars belief, a lot of it, doesn't it? What does go on behind? We never know. We can only just sit here and surmise. That's why we have podcasts, isn't it?
Exactly. Speculate and talk nonsense.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this other day, Mick, that when you're in a transfer window, it's very difficult to judge. When you sign Cafu, and everyone you're thinking this is a good window. If you go back now with hindsight, which is what you've got to do, because that's how it works, to get better, you look backwards and see how it went. We're now looking at 5 transfer windows in a row, which have been bad. And this is not subjective. So actually, it might have been. There's 5 transfer windows in a row that's been bad. You go back to the summer window when Matt Taylor, his first summer. So after we stayed up, it's just bad window after bad window after bad window. Money, allegedly good money spent in bad places. Well, is it not time for somebody to do something different, for somebody to change something? Because somewhere somebody is consistently making bad decisions. Consistently. So it's not one transfer window that's rubbish. We're having consistent windows where mistakes are being made. But who's making these mistakes? Because they're still making them now, aren't they?
Well, there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there? But you've got three managers, first of all, within that period, signing different players, and 2 really, because you can count Liam Richardson out of it, because he only had one window, and he was bringing players in to try and keep us in that division, and unfortunately wasn't able to, and arguably the chairman didn't want him here anyway, so I can't imagine that he got a great deal of backing in terms of who he was going to be able to bring in. So you've got 2 managers really. You've got Taylor and Evans. I can see what Taylor was trying to do. I can see what Evans has tried to do. However, both of them failed spectacularly in terms of the players that they've brought in. It's not great. It's really, really poor. From all the way around, all the way down. But ultimately, the manager is the one who tells Rob Scott or the board or whatever who he wants or the type of player that he wants. It's down to the management teams, whether it's Matt Taylor, whether it's Liam Richardson, whether it's Steve Evans, to tell them and instruct them the type of players that they want, and then he goes out and gets them or tries to find them. I would have thought that it's a consensus in terms of who we actually sign, because obviously we've got to be able to afford him. We've got to be able to afford the wages. He's got to fit with what you know, the criteria that we want, and that's not just one person's decision to be made. So it feels crap, but the argument is that Matt Taylor didn't do a very good job as a manager, and that the signings that he made, he wasn't able to get them to get a tune out of them, essentially, because there were some decent quality players, there were some decent experienced Championship players in the ones that he signed, and he couldn't get anything out of them. And from that point on, from the point that Matt Taylor got sacked, it's just been a shambles. It's just been an absolute shambles. You know, we spent 4 weeks, 5-6 weeks trying to appoint another manager because the chairman wanted Evans and nobody else did. The chairman finally got overruled, but then refused to back Liam Richardson, so he wasn't able to make an impact. The chairman then gets his own way, sacks Richardson, brings Steve Evans in, who he kind of backs in the summer, but the players that Evans has brought in are not able to play in whatever system it is that him and Rayner have dreamt up. So here we are. We've now back in a place where we've got some decent quality players who still aren't playing. That's been the issue. It's more of a. I'm kind of thinking as I'm speaking here. It's more of a manager issue than it is a recruitment issue.
There's a type of player that we're bringing in the wrong type of players.
Yeah, but that's the manager.
System.
It's the managers. It's the managers. It's Matt Taylor, Liam Richardson, and Steve Evans. They're the people who are behind the type of players that we bring in. They know, apparently, allegedly, they know what formation they want to play, what style of football they want to play. Although I'm not convinced on this with this team. So they're the ones that select the type of player and probably have the final say as to whether the individual is the right fit. And so that's, for me, it's a management issue. It's a Matt Taylor, kind of Liam Richardson, but I'm taking him out of it for the reasons I've mentioned, and a Steve Evans issue. I don't know.
Well, one way or another, it's not working, is it?
No, it's not working.
Multiple things. So, yeah, we could go on all night. Sean H says, "Don't forget we've added Coyote to the squad list, who's injured." So if you, unfortunately, with JJ, which we'd all be desperate for him to play and score, booking for down in the May, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. So realistically, it's going to be 18 players that's probably going to be available to pick from senior. The youth players don't count towards that. I'm not sure we've got any youth players. Have we got any youth players?
Well, Harrison, what's his face? We're on bench.
Yeah, but I mean, some kind of first team players that are below the age of 22. Anybody that's consistently.
No, because we keep farming them out, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Scott again saying it's Rob Scott in terms of the transfers.
I'm not convinced, Scott. I'm genuinely not convinced. The manager has to have a massive input.
Scotty's got a good record under Warney of bringing in some great players. So was that Warney or was that Rob Scott? I thought it was Scotty.
I'll tell you what that is. That's a manager working in conjunction with his recruitment team, as opposed to telling his recruitment team what to go and get. You know, but Warney, whatever you think of him, he had a style of play. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew exactly what he wanted from his team, and he got the players in to achieve that. To a greater or lesser degree of success, but he knew exactly what he was doing and what he wanted. I'm not convinced Matt Taylor even knew exactly how he wanted to play. And I think we've established, probably, certainly in my head, I've established, in my opinion, that Evans and Rayner ain't got a clue how they want to play. Not a clue.
Yeah, I agree. Scott Kent saying thoughts on the Tony out chance at Blackpool. He said they were loud and clear over to hear the commentary. Joy, just give us your kind of view on that. The Tony Stewart doubters that are out there. We know he's done great things for the club, but we also know we're a downward spiral. Where do you sit on all this Tony Stewart chat?
I agree to a degree. Yes, I agree, because as we've just been talking about managers, at the end of the day, Tony Stewart is the guy that has the playbook, doesn't it? Paychecks. So it's like, why, bringing Evans back? I don't understand that. Why do you bring a man back who's in his 60s, who, let's be brutally honest, since he was with us 11 years ago, has hardly pulled up any trees? I mean, they did a good job at Stevenage, but, they didn't get promoted in the end, but, he did do a good job there. To me, Evans is past his sell-by date. Thank you for what he did previously, but I mean, you look at this new guy that Plymouth brought in. He's a revelation. I mean, how well spoken he is as well. I mean, I really liked listening to him after watching the game against Liverpool the other day. Why aren't we looking for somebody like that? I mean, down the road in S6, they brought Danny Rowling. He's made a heck of a lot of difference. These young continental managers seem to be making a difference. Yet we've got I mean, Evans is younger than me, not by much, granted, and I'm ancient. So, but that was what TS wanted, wasn't it? He wanted Evans back because I think he thought he could recreate the good times in the early days of New York, but it's just not happened. And I don't think you can never go back. You couldn't go back when Ronnie came back. You just can't do it. It's ridiculous. You've got to go forward and not back. I do wonder if this is the last throw of the dice for Tony. If he is getting a bit fed up with it all. I mean, he has actually said that last year he fell out of love. Did he bring to Stevie in thinking he'd rekindle that love affair? I'm not sure that it will have happened like that because of the way this season's panned out. And the other thing is, what's out there that's going to be different? You've got to be careful what you wish for in terms of a chairman. You could end up getting somebody who's willing to bankroll you and put the efforts in, or you could end up like Bury or Macclesfield or poor old Morecambe, and and like you talk about getting the Americans in. Who's got Americans in at the moment? They're not doing very well. Swindon, Gillingham, all down the bottom of League Two, because they work to a different sporting ethos in America than we do here. And you've got to be mindful of people's, it is a business at the end of the day. And unless you've got deep pockets, you're never going to achieve what you may want to achieve from your heart, if that makes sense. And we're fans at the end of the day. And I mean, I'd like to think that having lived through 2005 to 2008, I don't want to go back to those days again, rattling the bucket.
Well, exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm sure this won't be the last time that we talk about this situation at the club between now and the end of the season. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens. Phil's 2 poor seasons and the club is being trashed. Phil, if you think the club's being ran well, then we'll be agreeing to disagree on that one, because I can't see that it is. But that's everybody's entitled to the opinion. Let's move back to kind of current day Mick. Sean Braggett's injured again. And this is really weird, because I think he played almost all season for Pompey last season. And now he's coming this year, and it's really frustrating because he was one of the kind of marquee signings for Steve Evans. He talked him up a lot, and whenever he's injured, he talked him up a lot. But this is a problem that he keeps getting injured. If you can't, I think it's still the bone bruising thing again, I think. I'm not a medical expert, it doesn't sound great, but it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back. And it's just, are we unlucky, do you think? Or is he, well, it's got to be unlucky because how many games he played last year?
I don't know. Yeah, I assume, I don't follow other clubs closely enough. I assume other clubs have all the other clubs have these similar sort of problems. But this has been an issue for us since Warney left.
Yeah,
essentially. Prior to Warney when Warney was here, I don't remember it so much. It might have happened
occasionally, but it wasn't very often.
Yeah, I don't remember the injury crises that we've had similar to the ones that we've had over the last 3 years. And it seems to have been almost permanently in crisis. Now, whether that's something to do with fitness, I don't know, because obviously Warney was a massive fitness man, weren't he? He was huge on fitness with these punishing runs up hills in Bulgaria at 5 o'clock in the morning and all that sort of stuff. That seemed to have disappeared when Matt Taylor came in and has not been rekindled, and that coincides with huge injury lists.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that may well just be coincidence. You've got to bear in mind that we're also talking about players who are all post 30.
exactly.
So that's the other issue. We were slagged off when we at the beginning of the season when Matt Taylor fetched all these older players in, saying, "Well, as long as they don't get injured, we'll be all right. We'll be all right." And everybody was saying they'll get injured, and lo and behold, they did. We're in a similar situation here with Raggett. Clark Harris, Liam Kelly's had his share of injuries. Joe Rafferty was injured at the beginning of the season, although he seems to have put a run together now. He's just recently. I don't know. I don't know whether fitness is the issue, whatever it is, but it's just one problem on top of another, isn't it? Just compounds the problem that not only we're not playing well, but we haven't even got a full squad to choose from anyway. I don't know. What question?
Raggett.
Oh yeah, he's injured again.
He's injured again. Yeah. Dan Gore's also injured. Joy. Poor lad.
Yeah.
Played an hour. Played quite well. Got a bad foot. Evans seemed pretty down about the goal, and I think Raggett's still being scanned, but he seemed really down about the goal one. We may see him again, but Evans was really down about it. So I wonder if it is going to be a pretty long-term thing, that, and it just shines a light on recruitment again, doesn't it? Sadly.
But the way he called him out as well, that wasn't
very.
That was poor management in my book.
Yeah. And
I think this season we've seen a lot of that poor man management. To be honest, from Mr. Evans. I'm a manager in my job, and you've got the way you treat people. This is what I'm saying about him being a bit of a dinosaur. I think the way he manages people belongs in the past, to be brutally honest, but that's my personal opinion. But yeah, sore foot, and he looks like he might be out for the rest of the season, doesn't he?
Yeah, which is a shame.
One decent crossing.
Yeah,
I mean,
he got an assist.
Couldn't they keep him on and give Powell some pointers? I mean, I'm not being funny. These dead ball situations at Blackpool were just poor. I mean, the guy puts the effort in, but his dead ball. I mean, you can't have, is it 1 out of every 35 or something is cracking?
Yeah, it's poor. It is poor at the minute. I don't get. We kind of promised that his set pieces will be very, very good, and it's obviously not panned out in the slightest that way with Powell. As much as I do like him, his set pieces aren't very good. Well, that's it. They're just not very good. So we'll move on. Anything else from Blackpool we need to mention before we have a quick look forward?
No, not really. I think, like I said, Mpanzu, I thought he played really, really well. He's a cracking signing, but yeah.
I like Mpanzu. He's going to be a good player. He's going to have a good time these next few months, hopefully.
What I would say is that I don't know. You told me on this one. I don't know. Hack's got booked again. How long before suspensions are going to start to rack up as well? That's another.
You're allowed 10 now.
Right. Okay.
Because the cut off for 5 is actually like 19 games or something like that.
Well, we might be all right then.
He's got 5 yellow cards, so he's allowed another 5 before suspension comes into place.
Not too bad.
Right. Yeah. 11 points off the playoffs. I think with 11 points off the relegation zone. So as mid-table as you could possibly wish to be. On to Reading. We don't really have any team news because once again the pre-match press conference is on Friday morning. Even for an away game, they normally do the away game on Thursday, but obviously that's Friday's the day they do things. That hopefully they'll get an update on some of the injuries. I think Wilkes and who else was the other one that was hoping? Clark Harris, I think, is hoping.
Was that Matt Williams? Was he?
I haven't seen his name mentioned anytime soon, so I assume he's going to be. Well, he said 10 days, didn't he? Last Saturday, I think. So hopefully the Barnsley game next week will have everybody available, from what Evans said, except Gore, obviously.
And Raggett.
So And Raggett, yeah, and probably 2 or 3 others by then as well, knowing our luck. But so we're kind of expecting similar squad, Joy. He went back to the diamond in the second half and put Hacks in the middle and kept Humphreys in the back. We were better in the second half. So would you go back to that way? Then Hacks is in midfield and not centre half when he's been really, really good. I'm not going to actually predict what Evans is going to do because we ain't got a clue because it's Steve Evans. But what would you want to see based on the last couple of games?
Well, another improvement, to be honest. And I think the best half out of the last 4 was the last one that we saw at Blackpool. So therefore, that would intimate that, given the personnel that he's got, I could see him doing the diamonds again, to be honest. I don't want the flat back 5, just not at all. Wouldn't surprise me if Hugill starts up front as well. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the way we finished at Blackpool is the way we start on Saturday.
Yeah, I could see that. The only question for Hugill, Mick, would be that he's played now a game and a half in 4 days, and he's not played any football at all prior to that. And he doesn't look, in the nicest way possible, he doesn't look the fittest. He doesn't carry his weight as well as other people. So I wonder if 3 games in a week might be too much for him to start again on Saturday. But I mean, Green's had a rest as well, so Green can come back in potentially.
Yeah, possibly. Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think he'll be. I think Hugill will start. I think because of the way he's played, I think he'll start. And maybe swap him out for Green halfway through the second half. But I think he will start. He's made an impact, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Yeah. So, Hugill will start. I think. I think it probably, arguably, might be the same team, just slightly different formation. That's all. So we'll see. Well, you can't second guess it, can you? You can't second guess it. But I think he'll play.
Okay. If Wilkes is fit, Joy, could you see Wilkes coming straight back in to the starting 11? Bearing in mind it's a free week next week.
Possibly not. I think that if there's any possibility of him having a recurrence, then he's more likely to be on the subs bench, to be honest, to see how he goes on. Because if we've got if it's an international, if we're not having a game the following week, then basically give him more time to rehab, I would suggest. But I would imagine he'll start on the bench.
Yeah. Can was an update on Wilkes, Clark, McDonald, McWilliams. Yeah, I think McDonald and McWilliams are a little bit further behind. Sam says he would like to see Hugill in an attacking position, like attacking midfield. I suppose a 10 position, possibly.
Why not? It's the only thing we haven't tried so far. Why not?
See if Cam Dawson fancies it. He's not doing it at the minute, is he? So Cam Dawson can run, surely. Right, let's move on to some predictions from the game. I haven't updated the league table, but the only person to score any points over the last 2 fixtures was Ben.
Wow.
I know. Ben predicted 1-1 on Tuesday. Obviously, it was 0-0, so he picked some point. Everybody else went for a victory or a defeat. So that one covers that one. So for this week, also we go away to Reading. Kev has obviously gone for 3-0. There are a couple of draws already. Tom's gone 1-1 and Ben has gone 1-1 again. Danny has gone for a 1-0 defeat. Joy still joint top, I think. I mean, this is prior to the Shrewsbury game, this league table. But yeah, we are very, very tight in there. What do you reckon, Joy? What's your prediction for Saturday?
Well, I've been saying 2-1 all season, haven't I? Basically, apart from the odd one. I mean, it was a bit I got a bit flighty last weekend, didn't I? And said 3-1. That showed me. What do I know? I'm going to do a reverse 2-1 like I did against Birmingham.
2-1 to Reading?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. This will be our 31st game of the season. We are getting there, aren't we now? When you go over to 30 games, it feels like quite a long way into the season. I know we are. But anyway, Mick, you need some points because you haven't been off the top of the table since the start of the season.
Yeah,
still
no, it's
joint
going
top
to
at the
happen.
minute.
It's going to happen.
It looks like.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Reading.
Okay.
Copycat.
Sorry.
Copycat.
Sorry, Joy.
So we've got 2 people go for 1-1. 2 people have gone for 2-1. Danny's gone 1-0, I say, and Kev's gone 3-0. Kev's the only one that's predicted a Rotherham win. We have done the scout report with Alex from the Elm Park Wales. That'll be out tomorrow. It's Reading. They've got the problems. We know the problems with the ownership. They lost the manager in around December time. We've got Noel Hunt as manager. Things aren't as bright and rosy in terms of on the pitch as they were under Ruben Sellers, unsurprisingly, because he was a very good manager. They are not expecting a classic. Let's put it that way. They're expecting a very, very drab game.
What?
So if you go in, take a book because you might need it. Fishman says 2-2. Baldy Wolf says 3-1 to the Millers. Steve Grundy says 1-1. John S says Reading 2. Ian Barnes says 0-0. I'll send 0-0 Ian. Chris Taylor says 2-0. Kaylee Wilson says 1-2 to Rotherham. Scott Kent says 2-0 to Reading. YouTube user says 1-2 to us. Harry says 1-0 to Reading. Gizmo says 2-1 to Reading. Paula Rhodes is going to Reading, so hoping for a 1-0 to us. Sean H says 2-0 to Reading. Terry Thomas says 3-0 to Reading. Martin Ruff says 2-0 to Reading. Palmer says 10-0 to Reading. Ian Bradley says 3-0. 2-0, sorry. Richard says 3-0 and Darren Cook says 2-0. Do you remember when we thought, well, we'll come down to League One because at least we'll win some games and it'll be a bit fun and it'll be all right. Nobody saw this coming, did they?
Yeah.
This season. I suppose when you get promised that you're going to challenge for playoffs, you're allowed to set your expectations a little bit higher than 15th, aren't you?
I think, I would argue that some of us did see it coming, didn't we?
Well, what did you predict pre-season?
I can't remember. Probably did predict. I probably did predict playoffs or something. I don't know, but yeah, we've got a bad manager. Said it right at the beginning of the season, and I stand by that. I stand by that now. I just don't think they're up to scratch. Him and Rayner, and the performances on the pitch, given the quality of players that we've got, back that up for me.
Fair enough. We are. Harry says we have one more game than last season. So that's a small positive. Absolutely. We are still waiting for the 3 o'clock win. That is almost 3 years since we won at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. End of February 2021 was last 3 o'clock victory away from home. I was against Plymouth. So lump on Reading, or a draw, I suppose. So yeah.
It's like you were saying off air though, Matt. Do you think that the roller coaster we've had over the last 11, 12 years has just spoilt us rotten?
Probably,
and I think somebody alluded to it earlier in the comments about, we're mid-table. Reading would be happy to be in our situation, I would assume. So would a lot of other teams.
Yeah,
but our expectations are such now that we've either been going up for promotion or fighting against relegation. Apart from those 2 seasons in the Championship and the one with Matt Taylor, we've been bouncing up and down.
Yeah,
and this is the first time we'll have stayed in this league since what? Well, it would have been before 2000 and when we went down last time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it was a season before our first 10-point deduction.
Yeah,
so it was last time we didn't go up or down. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we still have the last day against
pre-Don Valley then.
It was Millwall, yeah.
Millwall, yeah. Pre all the problems.
Yeah.
Last time that we stayed in this division, so we're knocking up nearly 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I know I've moaned and groaned and everything else, but I do agree with Joy. We have been spoiled over the last 12 years or so. But what I don't want to be called out for then is you can't live in past, and because I'm very much a case of don't be careful what you wish for. We know where we've been before. We know how bad it's been before. I don't want to go there again. But it doesn't that doesn't take away from the fact that what we are being served up with now is not good enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from that fact, you know. And had we been around 25 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, having these same conversations, I'm sure we'd have been saying the same things. We would have been saying the same things, you know. It's not. I don't think it's anything to do with necessarily being spoiled. That certainly not from my point of view, anyway. That I ain't got face on because I think we've got some God-given right to be challenging for promotion every season. I haven't. I don't think that. But we're football fans, aren't we? You know, and you want your club to be doing well. And when you can see that there are issues or what appear to be issues, you point them out. And that's what we used to do. That's what we've always done as football supporters.
Yeah. Yeah. You just want to feel like you're going somewhere. We can only accept a 15th place finish if you can feel like next season you feel like it's going to be different for a reason. If you ask any Rotherham fan now, I can't see a reason why next season is going to be better at this point.
No,
it's going to be the same. It feels like
I can. It's a centenary season.
Oh yeah.
That's why there were no intentions of going up this year because we're saving it for next season.
We're going to win the league in centenary year. Absolutely.
We're going to win everything next season in the centenary season.
Quadruple. That's what we're going for.
Whatever.
A finish on Sean H saying at least Cam will be offered a new contract if it was up to Steve Evans. Yeah, I know Paul Lewis is going to ask the questions, but I think we're all pretty. Does anybody actually think that Cam Humphries or Hakeem Duffin are going to stay?
You can offer a contract. You can offer a contract to anybody, but they don't have to accept it, do they?
No, I couldn't see any circumstances when either of those would stay. Can you two? No. So,
depends who next manager has done it. But
yeah, well, I think I got to think about this. If you were Cam Humphries, after what happened in October, November time, why would you want to sign and play for him again next year?
Oh, you won't.
You keep putting performances like he's been doing now. And if I was him, and I'm not him, obviously, if people notice, he might be a different attitude to me. I'd want to get out of there after being called out in public multiple times. Cam Humphries may be a very different character, but I'm sure he is a different character to me. But we'll wait and see. I'm sure there's some championship clubs will put up some money for him. Matt sounds like he needs a hot water bottle and a Lemsip. I've already had my Lemsip. It's bedtime, I think. Is there anything else we want to talk about tonight?
I don't think so.
Perfect. Bradley, get ready for the £80 limited edition shirts and other rip-off commemorative apparel. On that note, if you're one of those people that waits till the end of the season for a cheap shirt, they have lowered the shirts down by 40%. So if you were waiting to get a shirt for this season, now's the time to go get it because they're almost 50% off. So there's a hint for you all. Right. Thank you all for being with us today. We will be back on Sunday, which will be a review of the Reading game. And then obviously next week, the Barnsley and the South Yorkshire Derby next Saturday, which we'll preview later on next week as well. The Scouting report will be up tomorrow, which is from Alex from the Elm Park Royals. He gives a bit of a rundown on some of the few players. Reading have 11 senior players registered, so they are in serious trouble in terms of numbers. But I think they have a pretty good youth system, which they seem to be using reasonably well. So they're not kind of dead and buried. So keep check that out tomorrow because I'll just give you a bit more detail on that one. If you're listening on iTunes and Spotify, please make sure you have given us a 5-star rating and followed us, subscribed us where you are. Yeah, Mike Lamillion correctly says Ref Watch. Thank you very much, Mike, because I did do this before he came on. Thomas Parson is the referee. He refereed us in the League Cup win at home to Morecambe last season. So when we won on penalties. Can't remember anything from him, which is a good sign. Also, to cheer, we'll finish on this note. We haven't won in Reading since 1977. So who knows what Saturday will bring. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Joy. We will see you next time. And as always, up the Mills.
Up the Mills.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good Evans, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off in